Welcome to my series of computer programming training. Today I'm going to talk about Java programming concept for beginners. My name is Johnson Morrison Udobong. I am a teacher, computer programmer, and a system engineer. I have over 20 years experience in training, and I have also implemented various ICT solutions over the years. In this first of 10 training videos, I want to talk about computer programming concepts for beginners with special focus on Java programming language. So let's roll up our sleeves and let's get started. Thank you. So like I said, the topic is Java programming for beginners. Before we go delve into the real concept of Java programming, let's really understand what a computer program is. A computer program is a set of instructions that the computer follows to complete a task. Coding or programming are sometimes used interchangeably, but the meaning of coding or programming is um, a step-by-step instruction that tells the computer what to do. Now, we have various tasks that we write programs on to accomplish, and before you start doing anything, for example, you want to write a program to determine the eligible age of citizens that can vote in an election. Before you start employing the codes to do whatever to write the program, you need to write what is regarded as an algorithm for that program. An algorithm is a series of steps written in plain English that makes our programs run successfully or accomplish its task. So I want you to pick up a piece of paper and write down steps you follow to accomplish any task. So think of about any task. So in this particular example, I'm going to show you steps that we go through to add to integer numbers. Integers are whole numbers. So here, because we're talking about Java programming, I'm going to employ the Java syntax to develop this algorithm. I'm going to explain the syntax as we're getting on. So for now, we start with void main, open and close bracket, then we open the brace. The brace has a closing brace, which is on the next page there. Then the first thing we're going to do, this is a comment. Anytime you see two forward slash, it's a comment. So here will be to declare the variables, and we have to decide on the data types, and we have to declare them. For example, since we want to add two integers, so you have to specifically mention the data type, integer A, integer B, and each line with semicolon. And on the third line, you just write integer C, declare integer C, which will be where the answer will be. This is an algorithm, not you, the program. Then after declaring the variables, the next thing we want to do will be to initialize it, give it values. So we now uh, say here that A is equal to a value, say 2, and B is equal to a value, say 3. Then once we're through with that, then we'll now bring in the logic, do the programming work. What we want to do is to add these two numbers. So we'll add the values and we'll print out the result. So we'll now write something like C is equal to A plus B, and we'll now tell it to print out the result. Then we now write the closing brace. Now this is how the program will be. This is written in plain English. If you type the code the way it is here, it will not work because we've not really used the Java syntax in all lines of our program. So by the time we finish, we would have written what is regarded as an algorithm. Now let's now convert this to a real programming code in Java and see how it will work. So like I said, the first step is to declare the variable. After writing the void main, the next line is to open the brace. You will now declare the variables, type integer A, integer B, and integer C. The next thing is to give it value. Another way of saying this is to initialize the variable. So you now say A is equal to 2, semicolon, B is equal to 3, semicolon. Then we'll now do the programming work. What we intend to do here will be to add the values and print out the answer. So we write C is equal to A plus B, and we'll now type print line, the answer is plus C. This plus here means concatenation. We're just adding the result of what we're going to have and see to the string that is here. So let's just write this code and see how it's going to come out. So you begin in JUDO IDE. We're currently using JUDO Java Programming IDE. IDE means to use development environment, and JUDO enable allows us to just begin writing a Java syntax by typing void main, and we have parentheses before we now open the brace and close the brace. Whatever comes in brace will be the codes that we want to execute. So I'll write a comment. The first one will be to declare the variables. Comments are not completed when programs are compiled, but they are just meant to guide us to explain each line of the code. So I'll now type integer A, declare integer A, declare integer B, then declare integer C. So I'm going to work with all the integers. Then the next thing we'll do is to initialize it and give it value. So initialize the initialize the variables. So initialize the variable. So we'll now type A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3. Then the third part will be to do the programming or the programming work or employ the logic to get the result of what you're trying to accomplish. So just type C is equal to A plus B, and the last concept will be to say print line open bracket. Then now come here, you can see the print line is also a method, it has parentheses. So I'm going to talk more about that as we're getting on. Then we'll concatenate this with C. So now write the answer is. So when you do this, check true after writing the program. So go back to check true. If you're sure everything is okay, you can run it. If there's any error, the system will tell you there's an error. So here the system adds up and tells you that the answer is 5. Now we can change our mind and say, oh no, we don't want A to be 2, we want A to be maybe 234, and we want B to be 390. So just type in the values there and save and click run. If you do that, the system will return the answer to you. So the 2 forward slashes here represent what is called comments in Java. Comments are not completed during the process of compiling the program. It's meant to explain what each line of code represents. So since I mentioned something about variable, let's just talk a little bit more about variable, though this will come up fully in subsequent chapters. A variable refers to a memory location that holds values like numbers, text in the computer memory. If you recall that after we had declared a variable here, it was easier to change the values to whatever we want, and the logic will do the computation based on what we entered into as values for the variable. So an analogy of this is you can imagine a glass and a bottle of milk. If you pour a little bit of milk into the glass, so you can say how much milk is in the glass. So you pour more milk in the glass. How much milk is in the glass now? So the amount of milk can be anything just from just a little bit up to a full glass. The amount of milk can vary from a little bit to a full glass. Okay, I'm repeating that, and vary from anything from little to a full glass. The glass that holds the milk is variable, while the amount of milk at any time is a value. So the milk can be half, can be a quarter, can be full, and the rest of it. Then another way to look at it, the concept of variable here is to look at what is called a piggy bank. Container, most times students use to drop their coins and use to save their money. So the piggy bank holds your money is a variable, while the value of the money you have at a particular time is the amount of money you have, is a value. Another way to illustrate the concept of variable is to look at Microsoft Excel. The cells in Excel are memory locations that can hold various kinds of values. Identifying the cells based on their addresses is like declaring variables. The next step is to the next step is to give them values, and the next step is to give them values and program the cell to store the result. So let me illustrate this. Will be next step will be to give values. Will be to give values and to program another cell to store the results. So let's illustrate and see how Microsoft Excel can help us to understand the concept of variables and values. Now, this is a Microsoft Excel platform. This is a worksheet environment. The other ones are the menus and the commands. Now, if I click on any of these, what you see there is a border around the cell. So these are all cells. And you notice that all these cells have what we call cells addresses. For example, the current cell that I'm highlighting on now is F7, has an address F7. The next one will have an address K11, and the next one will have an address C14. So I can store in values in any of these cells. Take for instance, if I click on B8 and I type 67, and I come down here and this is cell H11 and I type 89. Now, if I want to add the values of this cell and the value of what is in this cell, and I want the result to appear here, so what I will need to do is to click on where I want the result to be. I will type equal to. There are many ways to do this. I'll type equal to. Then I will now call the cells addresses. The first one is D8. I type D8 plus, and the second one here is H11 plus H11. You can see by typing the cell addresses, those cells that I've chosen are automatically highlighted. And here I've created the logic around it. So to add the values of those two cells. So if I press enter, the system returns 156. Now, if you click here, you can see the logic or the program that you've just implemented for this current cell 13. So what it means is that at any particular point in time, whatever value I have between here and here will be added to return this value. And it's important that they have the same data type, integer, like that. So if you type something like maybe 2, 3, 4 here, and you type 5, 6, 7, you notice that the result automatically will change to 801. But what happens if you type in a number with a decimal, for example 45.90? So what you have here is this. So Excel will add this together to return this value. Then what happens if you change this to, instead of being a number, you decide to use a string or a character? If I put A here and I'm telling this value to add with this, if you click outside, the system will return this. Telling you, watch out what you type is something, an error or a 1 inside. So now, what I've just been able to do is to see how the Excel environment can help us explain the concept of a variable and values. So this cell that holds this value is what we regard as a variable, while the value that you find here will be the current value that you have there. It can change. The same thing here. The cell that holds this value is a memory location, which we now call variables. So that's what I wanted us to see from Excel. So note that a piggy bank is a money box, typically one shaped like a pig. We'll talk more about variables in subsequent lessons. So let's look at the computer programming concept and how it's used. So we are surrounded by computer programs. Many of the devices and gadgets we use each day are controlled by them. These machines all follow step-by-step instructions written by a computer program. So remember what I said about how you write a computer program. The first thing is to identify what you want to do, then know all the tasks that you need to go through to get it done. And in that way, logical reasoning comes in. Then you now use algorithm, write the stages in plain English language steps on how you go about getting it done. Once you've done that, then you can now employ your programming syntax to develop a program and run it to achieve your results. So, so we're seeing here that there are a lot of programming on many devices I would say around us today uses computer programs. Like the cell phones that we are carrying around, the cell phones have programs that allow us to make phone calls and send text messages. When you search for a contact, the program finds the correct phone number. The same thing too, computer system would computer softwares are very useful in computer systems. Everything a computer does, from browsing the internet to writing, documents or playing music, works because of codes written by a computer programmer. So games, we have the game consoles are just another type of computer, and all the games, all the another type of computer. So you can see all the graphics, sounds, and controls are written in computer codes. Then washing machines are programmed to follow different cycles. Computer codes control how the water is and how long each cycle takes. Then the cars that we have, in some cars, computer programs monitor the speed, the temperature, the amount of fuel in the car. Computer programs can help control the brakes to keep people safe. So we see it everywhere, especially Java programming software is really used in billions of devices that we see around us. In radios, in our televisions, in computers, in equipment, have programs that are running to make it work the way it does. So let's really look at the concept of computer programming languages. We talk to each other using different languages. Similarly, computers communicate with each other, makes it possible for us to develop the games, calculators, text editors, different programs using different programming languages. Without programs, your computer will be useless and the screens will be always black. So computer parts are called the hardware part, the ones you can touch are the hardware, run programs are the software. You don't really see them, but they are written logical steps to help the system work effectively. There are over 250 computer programming languages, and some of the popular ones are C++, Java, Python, etc. In this training, we'll focus on Java programming. So why should you learn computer programming? Computer programming can be fun, it's rewarding, and it lets you do impressive things with your computer that you have never done before. By writing programs, you can have your computer prompt someone to type in information or respond to answers on your answers. Have computers do math calculation for you. You can write games and animations. You can have computer paints colorful shapes on the screen and move them around with the mouse and keyboard. You can solve a lot of logic problems. And beyond all that, it helps you in reasoning. It gives you a logical way of approaching issues and solving problems. And it's really good. It's develop your ability to write stories, to tell stories, and to employ logical reasoning, especially in situations that you really need to take a decision on certain matter in life. So in Java, let's go down to Java programming. The father of Java is James Gosling. He created the original Java programming language compiler, and Java virtual machine. I'm going to explain those three concepts. Java is used to create programs for mobile phones, for refrigerators, TV, cars, etc. These devices have various operating systems. OS means operating system. Operating system. Operating systems are the software that enables a system to work effectively, and it also enables all the hardware and peripheral devices that connect to the system to function effectively. In the process of looking for a language that is platform independent, the idea of Java Virtual Machine (JVM) was created. Therefore, Java is called a platform independent language. What does that mean? Let's see what it means. So what is platform independent? If you take a language like C and C++ and write them on top of your Windows operating system, once it's compiled, the C++ makes you solve the problem coded on Windows operating system resources. You cannot take this C++ code and try to run it on a Linux environment. So the C/C++ is not platform independent because they depend on the operating system. So whichever platform you compile them, you must run them only on that platform. So how did Java becomes platform independent? Another layer was brought in between the Java and the operating system. That layer is called the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM for short, and there are different JVM for various operating systems. For example, on your Windows operating system, you have the JVM for Windows before you get to Java. You have the JVM for Linux before you get to Java. So how is this useful to us? This is how it's useful. Java is built on top of the JVM. That makes Java a platform independent language. Whatever platform they are compiled, they can run on any other platform with different operating system. So compiler means transferring the code you've written in your plain language to transferring the code you can understand to what the computer can understand. That's what compilation means. So once you compile your Java program on your Windows platform, the resulting code could be taken to any other platform and run it without having to change any operating system. That's what makes Java a platform independent programming language. Now, when you want to write your Java code, you need to use an environment that enables your codes to run. That environment is what we call the Java IDE. Now, IDE means Integrated Development Environment. It's a program that makes it easy for you to write computer programs. JUDO is an example of an educational tool used to teach programming concepts and to spark exciting interest in programming. JUDO is easy to use. JUDO is fun. Now, it's licensed under the JNU JPL. JNU means General Public License, and it is a widely used free software license which guarantees end users the freedom to run, study, share, modify the software. That's how JUDO is built. So you don't need to pay anything. You can download it free and you use it to start writing your Java codes. To download your JUDO, you have to go to http://judo.sourceforge.net. There you find different versions. Look out for the current version and you can download that and use it. So how to use JUDO? To use JUDO, there are 5 things you need to know about JUDO. Writing and running programs, creating new programs, saving programs, opening programs, and setting program properties. Opening programs and setting program properties. So, like what we have here, if you look at what we have here, we have JUDO. This is a JUDO program that's already been installed. When you open it, this is how it looks. You have the file section. On the file, you have new open program, open sample program, save, delete the program, then you can edit. You have edit, undo, redo, and you have the help section, which can take you back to the JUDO website for further references. Then this is really our programming environment where you can write your programs. And this is where you run the program when once it's written. Once you've done that, when you run a program, the result comes out here. Here, this is the section at the bottom. The system will tell you if the program is successfully compiled or if there's an error. And once that is done, a box will appear showing you the result of what you found. For example, this program that we wrote, we can run it again to see what happens. When you run that, the system will tell you it's compiled successfully, and a resulting box appears telling you program is the answer, giving you the response to your program. So if there is an error with the program, take for instance, maybe on one of the lines I did not close it with a semicolon. A few lines I didn't close with a semicolon. If I run this program, the system will prompt me and tell me, look, go to line 3. Something is wrong with line 3. I'm expecting a semicolon, but it's not there. Line 5, I'm expecting a semicolon, and it's not there. So go and do something about it so that I will be able to work. And of course, if you have not properly terminated this first line and this line, it will definitely affect the variables that you declared for, and also initialize for them. So that's how it works. So if you do the correction, then the system will run and give you the result that you're looking for. Okay, writing and running programs. To write a program, you need to click in the large white part of the JUDO window. When you do that, you will have a blinking cursor and you can type in your program. When you are done writing the program, press the run button that is above where you type a program. After you press the run button, your program will pop up on the screen if there were no errors. But if your program did have errors, they will appear in the little white area at the bottom of the JUDO window. You should read the error messages, fix the errors in your program, and hit the run button again. Then you can create new programs by clicking on the file menu on the top left part of the JUDO window. You click new. So this is where it is. You want to create a new program, just click on new. The system will ask you, do you want to save the current work? You can say yes. It will save it and open a blank screen for you to use for your new program. Then you can also save your current program by clicking on the save button. If you type a program, you can go to there and just click save and give a name to it, and the system will save it for you. So that's basically how it is. So open programs. To open a program, click on the file menu and click on open program. So if you want to open the programs that you've already saved before, you just click on it and just bring it up, and it will appear on the screen as you've seen. So you click on the box and choose the program you want and click OK. So that's how it's done. So let's write our first Java program using JUDO IDE. JUDO IDE. So select JUDO from the program menu. Look for where you have your JUDO. Find it on the taskbar or on the program menu. Look for JUDO. You use the program menu. Just go down and look for JUDO. JUDO. So click on JUDO. Then click on this icon, and the JUDO box will automatically appear and show. Then next thing is to begin writing your codes. So the first line of code that you write will be void main opening and closing brace. Sorry, that's your small letter. Void main opening and closing brace. Parentheses, opening and closing bracket with your opening brace and closing brace. Void main open and close bracket, then open your parentheses and close your parentheses. Whatever goes in here will be your program. So let's explain what each line means. This is the core inside which we start to write our program. Every program must go inside the void main method, which is followed by a curly bracket. 3 main steps in writing programs. To create a program, a Java program, you need to go through the following three steps. the following 3 steps. Then write the program in Java and save it on a disk, and compile the program to translate it from Java language into a special bytecode that JVM understands, then run the program. Those are the 3 stages that you need to go. Write the program in Java and save it on a disk. Compile the program to translate it from Java language into a special bytecode that JVM understands, then run the program. So if you recall the program that we had before now, a simple program to print out your name will be we start with void main, open and close bracket, open the brace and close the brace, then we now type print line, then have in bracket, then you can have your name here. My name is Johnson Morrison Udobong. Now, so this is a simple Java program to print out my name. If I want to print out my name, if I run this, I'll just say compile successful, and I can do this on many lines. For example, if I want to print out my name, my email address, and my phone number, I will just can paste this in multiple locations, and I will just type my name. Here I will write my, my email. The email is jjohnmorris8@gmail.com. Then my address, my phone is 08035142552. So when you do this, the system will print out details, the line as shown below. There are other ways of writing this, but this will print out the names as shown below. So how does this really works? The same thing too, if you want to write hello world, you want to print hello world, so just change all this and change the content of your print statement to hello world. So the computer hello world, print line, hello world, close, our closing brace. Closing brace was missing. Opening and closing brace, then we'll now run it again. The system is saying here closing bracket is not there, so we'll close that up. So hello world has been printed. So how hello world works? First, let's start learning what is happening in the program hello world. The Java program has only one method, which is called the main, which is an entry point of the Java program or application. Now, the method is basically a recipe on how you want to run the program. So the first thing your computer does when it runs a Java program is to look for a method called main. So main is already programmed in the JVM, and when you're running a Java program, the system looks for the method called main, and whatever it finds between the as a content of the main is what is going to execute for you. So you always have to ensure that your method name has that name main. So you can tell that main is a method because it has a parenthesis after the word main. Method can use other methods. For example, our method main calls the method printLine to display the text hello world on the screen as shown in the example here. Now, what we're trying to say here is, assuming nothing was here, you will see clearly that this is a method because it has the parentheses. This is another method, it has the parentheses. So the main method will call the method printLine to execute whatever it has there. If you don't have anything inside and you run it, the system will tell you there's something wrong. The printLine, it doesn't really have anything inside of it. So if you now put in something, hello world, you're telling to print something and there was nothing there. So if you now put something now and run it, the system will tell you it's compiled successfully, then it returns uh, the result for you. So you can also, if you want to be sure your syntax is working, you can take off the print line. Take off the print line. I'll just do Control X to cut it, and I'll just run this. It compiles successfully, but since there's really nothing to print out, the system will not bring anything out for you. So it will just bring out an empty report. So if you return this back again and you run it, the system will do that and return the word hello world. So um, the method can call or use other methods. For example, the method main calls the method print line to display the text hello world on the screen. Does the method return any data? Do you want it to return a data for you? The keyword void means that the method main doesn't return any data to the calling program. But if, for example, a method had to perform some calculations, you can have return a resulting number to its caller. The name of the method is called main. So that's where we're going to stop in this first lesson. I will tell you more in other subsequent videos. We look at other lessons. Like I said, this series has a total of 10 videos. Look at other series. Look at other series as we're getting on other videos that talks about other topics, expanding the concept of variable, expanding the syntax, declaration of statements, realization, and getting to topics like the while loop, the arrays, and the rest of them. So watch out for the next video. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.